Hello, and this is Matt's Retro Roundup, where I look at some of the games that were crucial in turning me into a gamer when I was a lot younger. And this one is Dig Dug on the Atari 2600. So the Atari 2600 was one of the first consoles I owned. It was one of the early trailblazers for the home console industry, along with the ColecoVision and Mattel in television. But in England, the one that was most readily available was Atari, so most of my friends and the guys I knew, we had an Atari. We were also quite lucky, we lived near quite a few arcades, so we were always able to see a lot of games in the arcades. And then when they came onto Atari, it was always very exciting because it really did generate the feeling of having the arcade at home. I mean, if you look at the difference in all the Atari games to the arcade, it's obviously it's miles of difference between the two games. The graphics are very crude, the sound is a lot more basic, and these were being created on cartridges of less than 10k of memory, which you know, the logo for your mobile phone when you turn it on is several 100k, so it's quite a miracle what the programmers managed to pull off back in the day. But this is really good. It's a really faithful representation of the Dig Dug arcade game. As with many of the games similar to this at the time, you had a digging motif, and you could collect fruit or vegetables to get more points. You had enemies to kill. Very similar to Mr. Do, and a little bit later on after that, Boulder Dash. So the premise here is very, very simple. You just dig. You get points for digging. You create tunnels. The monsters can walk along the tunnels, or they can ghost through the walls. And you've got to kill the monsters. Now, you can kill them by blowing them up with your pneumatic air drill, which is what I'm doing here. Or you can drop something heavy on them like the rocks. The lower down the screen into the darker areas of the play area, the more points you get for killing them. The colours were one of the things that really attracted me to this game on the Atari 2600, because although it starts off with very earthy colours of browns and oranges and dark yellows, before too long you're into areas where you're playing with lovely rich blues and turquoises. And it's just very pretty to look at, especially if you bear in mind when we were playing this, you wouldn't really be playing this on a very big screen. It would be something like a 14-inch TV, or going up to like a 26-inch TV if you were really lucky. But the graphics are fantastic for the Atari. It's nice and simple. Everything is very sort of one-coloured. The monsters are just green with plain red fire. But it really does take you back to playing Dig Dug in the arcade. So now we've started to move on to a different colour palette for this level. The Pukas, which are the round ones with the little feet, and the Figars, who are the dragons. I'm in trouble here. As time goes on, if you don't kill them, you get a little jingle, and then they'll move faster. They'll either walk along the corridors, or they'll ghost and start to come through the walls, like that Puka that I've just stunned with my pneumatic air cannon. And the AI is quite good. They really do start to gang up on you very quickly as the game progresses. So you've got to keep your wits about you. You can't get too close to the Figars either on the left or the right, because they'll increase the frequency in which they breathe fire. And the fire reaches quite a long way, and it can also reach through a single wall, so you don't want to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. So I'm quite hesitant about... I'm going to get killed again yet. Quite hesitant about getting near that Figer in the bottom left. I'll have to come in from above, see if I can drop a rock on his head or something. Oh, 2 in 1. Shot. So the boards get progressively harder. The Figers are quite aggressive in their pursuing of you. You get more monsters, they get a little bit faster, they tend to ghost a bit quicker, the music adds to the tension, keep encouraging you to move. And you've really got to think about routes around the screen. Ultimately, the screen, you can go anywhere you want. It's down to you. You're not limited to various options like in Pac-Man. You can go wherever you want, but you have to be very strategic about it and try and lead the animals into areas where a high value points kill is going to be certain. So this is one of the main tactics I've seen a lot of players use, is to stun the enemy and then just move a bit, and you're sort of leading them, get them to follow you into danger. So I'll just wait up the top for this little fire guard to try and make his way off the map. But this really is a classic game. Dig Dug in anyone's book. Dig Dug 2, the arcade game, is very much take it or leave it. It's okay, but a lot of people can get to grips with it. It was a little bit random sometimes in its game choices. But Dig Dug is great, and this is where I'm going to leave it. So, until next time, thanks for watching.